So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market. I want to talk next about the local statistics for Tampa and Sarasota. We like to talk about them to keep you updated on what's going on in the market and help you make the right decisions when buying or selling, which I think always includes giving a call to the Duncan Duo or going to theduncanduo.com. But prices, what we've seen for, starting in December, we saw December and January where it looked like prices had softened year over year, and we had 2 months in a row where the number of home sales in the market dropped year over year. Basically, that means January of 2019 number of home sales was less than January of 2018, and then and then down to December as well. So we did not see that trend. In January, for example, we had 1,999 sales in 2021 last year. In February, we had 2,466 last year, 2,566 this year. So some of the lost sales that we had, it was a very negligible small number in January, but we gained that back, and so now in February we have an increase in the number of sales. Average sale price in February of 18 was $260,652. In February of 19, it was $271,000. Nice. So we're back to seeing appreciation and home sale increases in Tampa. And again, it's a little bit different in every market, every price point, every neighborhood. But looking at the averages, we're back to seeing, we stopped the trend of 2 consecutive months. We didn't get to a 3rd consecutive month of dropping home sales and flattening prices. We also saw inventory down to 3.6 months. It was 4.7 in January. 3.6 months of inventory is comparable to what it was in February of 2018, meaning that in February of 18 they had a little bit more number of homes for sale with a little bit fewer number of sales. And now, obviously, the 2566 sales were at 3.6 months of inventory. We had months last year where we hit in the mid-2s in the summer. Most economists are predicting us seeing the same thing this year.
Right.
Upper 2s to low 3s.
Well, a thing that I've heard recently a couple times from a couple different buyers was, I'm back in the market now because it's more of a buyer's market. Yeah. It's not in Tampa.
It's not really.
It's better.
It can be in certain neighborhoods, but yeah, you're not going to get. I had a house, personal property, this past week go under contract. I had 6 offers on it, and I had a couple of people lowball. The market's softening, and it ended up going $15,000 above asking price.
Right.
Which was about an 8% over asking price deal, and so my response was. Maybe in some neighborhoods, or maybe in New York, but not in Tampa. That's not happening.
Yeah, we're still not seeing that.
Still very hot.
Right.
3.6 months of inventory. Again, average list to sell price ratio runs around 97%, 98% in some price ranges, and then 94 to 95 as you climb the price charts. So
still strong.
A higher end home is going to sell for less, but yeah, still very strong. Healthy real estate market, and we bucked the trend about prices softening as well as number of home sales dropping, which I think will probably ease some concerns that people had. So let's move on to Sarasota, Manatee, another market that we do cover. We've been working in Sarasota, Manatee, for a while, and we love to talk about the stats there because it's different. Sarasota, Manatee, it isn't like Tampa. There's a lot of differences between that market and Tampa. Sarasota and Manatee is more of a vacation home, second home market than Tampa. That doesn't mean there's not a lot of in-area moves and people moving up and people moving down, local moves, but there's more. There's a greater percentage of vacation home and second home opportunities, and it's higher end. The average sale price there is higher than it is here.
Right.
So let's talk about the Realtor Association of Sarasota and Manatee came out with their stats, and there were last year in February, there were 1,144 sales. This year in February, there was 1,086. So this is, again, another month.
Right.
That we've seen now, I believe this will be the 3rd month, maybe the 4th month, November. No, this will be the 3rd month in a row of the number of home sales declining year over year in Sarasota, Manatee.
I wouldn't be surprised if that continues because you know, they're a little bit more seasonal than we are.
And
here.
they're also more tied to economies around the world.
Right.
Places like New York, where you know, some of the tax situations. You know, there's economies around the world that are maybe struggling, where they're not buying those second and vacation homes.
Right.
And there's just, I think, a little bit, just slightly less optimism about the future of the market. So it's got people a little concerned. There's also one of the other things that impacts these stats that can sometimes be a little bit misleading. There's been a big push the last few years to have some affordable housing inventory built in Sarasota.
Right.
And some of that has been being built. And so, you know, they're saying, oh, well, you know, we don't have any $200,000 and $250,000 inventory. So then when they go and build it, it can impact the prices a little bit.
Absolutely.
You know, so the prices I don't necessarily look at as much as I do the number of sales. The number of sales dropping is clearly a concern. 3 months in a row, that in my mind kind of, you know, tips off a shift. That says this market is shifting.
Agreed.
So let's talk about what's happened with the average sale price. Last year it was $401,571 in February. This year it's $378,501. That's a $23,000 drop, about 6% drop in the average sale price year over year. So Sarasota market is turning more into a buyer's market than Tampa is.
Absolutely.
Sarasota is softening inventory. Now, we talked about having 3.6 months of inventory in Tampa. There's 6.9.
Oh, wow.
Almost double the amount of inventory in Sarasota, Manatee. So more inventory in Sarasota, more of a buyer's market. I wouldn't say it is a buyer's market, but closer to a buyer's market. It's more flat. You know, it's more of a balanced market. You don't see the bidding wars. You don't see the big swings. Another thing, 95% list to sell price ratio. You know what? You know another reason why I think that exists? I think that Sarasota has a real estate market that, I think in Tampa, you have a lot of agents that have figured out, they look at the numbers, and they say, you know what, we've got a supply and demand curve challenge. We could price this home aggressively and create a bidding war and sell it above the asking price, almost negotiating up,
right?
Because that's more effective for their client. In Sarasota, maybe it's a little bit more traditional or old school, where they don't do that. They're saying, oh well, we'd really like to get 380, so we're going to price it at 400.
Right.
You know, whereas in Tampa, they might say, we really want to get 380. Okay, price it at 380, and let's hold the line, and then maybe we get above that. So I think that list to sell price ratio also has to do with kind of the heartbeat of the market, the training of agents, the mentality of the agents to do things maybe the way they've always been done, and that's why you see 95% as the average list to sell price ratio. And quite frankly, if you look historically over time, that 95% number it's like the same every month.
Right.
I mean, you'll have a couple of months where it might drop down or go up, but I mean it's 95% the majority of the time. Whereas in Tampa, you see it kind of ebb and flow with the market. When the market's hot, that number is 97, 98%. When the market's cold, that number is 93, 94. In Sarasota, it's just always 95.
Right, and I think it's important for out-of-town buyers to kind of realize that and know the market. So Tampa, for instance, it's hard to get a deal. You know, when houses are selling for 97, 98% of the list price, you're not going to come in and
you're not going to get a great deal.
Exactly.
I think and I think that's the summary of the stats. You know, if you're looking for a really great bargain, you're more likely to see it in Sarasota and Manatee. If you're looking for a really great bargain in Tampa, I can't say it doesn't happen. It's just unlikely. The stats just don't.
It's harder to find them.
Correct.
Harder to find them. You know, and I think a lot of that's with the other markets. You know, in most real estate markets in other states, there's more of a negotiation. You know, let's offer 20 grand lower and see if we can
go back and forth. And that still happens in upper end prices or in homes that are overpriced.
Right, exactly.
Or neighborhoods where homes aren't moving. So again, you're listening to the Duncan Duo Real Estate Show here on 970 WFLA. I'm Andrew Duncan. We just got finished talking about the Tampa and Sarasota stats. And you can find that video on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/The Duncan Duo. We'll have